All right, we are recording.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, greetings and good afternoon to all. It is now approximately 1:07 on August 25th, 2022. We are conducting this hearing virtually via Zoom. We are here for a public hearing on the abandonment petition AB770 to consider an application received from Bank Realties LLC to abandon a portion of county right-of-way known as Kensington Boulevard in Wheaton. My name is Richard Dorsey, and I am the county exec's designated hearing officer for Montgomery County Department of Transportation. This right-of-way abandonment hearing is being conducted pursuant Chapter 49-62F of the County Code. My role in this abandonment process is to receive public comments concerning the abandonment request, and then write a report and recommend to the county exec concerning the applicant's petition for abandonment. In order to do this, I will consider statements being made during this hearing and written comments received within the comment period. Comments will be accepted until September 19th, 2022 at 5 p.m. as well as documents submitted to Mrs. McCray, to support or explain a position on this abandonment case. My report and recommendation will be forwarded to the county exec for consideration, and the county exec will then forward the report and the county exec's recommendation to the county council. It is the county council that will ultimately decide whether to grant or deny the applicant's petition for abandonment. For those who wish to submit written comments, please submit them to Ms. Tara McCray at Montgomery County Department of Transportation, 100 Edison Park Drive, 4th floor, Gaithersburg, Maryland, 20878, or email them to tara.mccray@montgomerycountymd.gov by September 19th, 2022, 5 p.m. Before we get started, we're going to cover a few ground rules before Mrs. McCray introduces the abandonment petition to the record. First, please turn off or silent all cell phones. Second, as an issue of decorum, all participants will be given due consideration. Those seeking to offer comments following the close of the petitioner's case for abandonment are asked to be mindful of the time and limit their comments to the relevant matter. Such comments should be confined to less than 3 minutes. If an interruption occurs, I will give the individual a first warning. If there's a second interruption, I will give the individual a second warning and then mute that individual. If the same individual receives a third warning, that person will be removed from the call. And if there are several people making interruptions, we may close the hearing. Following Mrs. McCray's introductions, the applicant will submit his case for why they believe the right-of-way should be abandoned. After the applicant completes his case, those registered to speak will be allowed to make relevant comments. Mrs. McCray.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that. I'm having technical difficulties this morning, so I'll do my best to make sure everyone can hear me. My name is Tiara McCray, as Mr. Dorsey already stated, and I am a real estate specialist within the property acquisition section for Montgomery County Department of Transportation. My section is responsible for administering requests for the abandonment of public rights-of-way. As Mr. Dorsey noted earlier, this process is governed by County Code Article 49, Section 6. The County Code details the County Council's authority to abandon a public right-of-way if it finds that 1, the right-of-way is no longer needed for public use or anticipated future public use, or 2, the abandonment is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of residents near the right-of-way to be abandoned. The subject of this case is a portion of county right-of-way known as Kensington Boulevard in Wheaton. Kensington Boulevard is approximately 70 feet wide, and the petition area extends from East Avenue into the petitioner's property at 11300 Veers Mill Road. Plat number 303 dedicated the road to public use on or about July 10th, 1925. And in June of 1972, the Montgomery County Planning Board by resolution declared the 5,596 square feet of land indicated on plat 10315 as a reservation of land for public use, necessary for highway purposes for the proposed Kensington Boulevard extension. The public reservation was to continue in full force and effect for 3 years, and to date, no extension of Kensington Boulevard to Veers Mill Road exists. The applicant requests the partial abandonment of the public right-of-way to prevent vehicular cut-through traffic on his property located at 11300 Veers Mill Road and to protect the safety of the patrons in the parking lot. In a letter received on August 22nd, 2022, the petitioner provides additional information through various exhibits that were prepared in concert with Wheaton Gateway LLC to indicate their consideration of comments and concerns submitted by Montgomery County Department of Transportation and the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission. It's a mouthful, WSSC. The exhibit depicts that approximately 3,795 square feet of the right-of-way would be abandoned to the applicant, and approximately 1,465 square feet is abandoned to the other adjoining property owner, who's the Housing Opportunities Commission at 11250 Veers Mill Road, creating a reduced hammerhead shaped to remain as county right-of-way. As a part of the administrative process, we have provided the requisite notices to other public agencies, abutting property owners, and the public at large. During this process, we have collected a number of exhibits that I will now introduce into the hearing record. One second. If someone can let me know when they can see my screen, that would be helpful for me.
I can see it, I believe.
Thank you. We've got quite a bit of exhibits, so I'm going to do my best to go ahead and get through these in a timely manner. Exhibit 1 is the original applicant's abandonment petition that was received on October 3rd, 2019. That is, there we go. There we go. That's pages 1 through 3. Exhibit 2, the collection of plats to determine county right-of-way for Kensington Boulevard and the SHA right-of-way on Veers Mill Road. These are plats number 303, page 2, 1740, 1919, 16797, 6789, and 10315. All right. Our next exhibit is Exhibit 3, Executive Order number 16-20. It authorizes the public hearing that was originally scheduled in April of 2020. Exhibit number 4 is the Washington Times ad number 38761. This was advertising the original public hearing, and advertisements were set to run March 20th and 27th in 2020. However, the hearing was canceled on March 18th, 2020. As a result, no affidavit of publication has been provided to the county. Exhibit 5 is the hearing traffic sign request that was submitted on March 5th, request for the installation of the traffic sign to notice or to advertise the public hearing. Exhibit 6 is the original HOC comment that was received via email from Zachary Marks on October 22nd, 2019 in opposition for various reasons pertaining to future plans for development of the adjoining property. Exhibit 7 is the comment solicitation request that was submitted to public agencies dated December 9th, 2019. Exhibit 8 is the comment solicitation request submitted to all public utilities required by county code that's submitted December 10th, 2019. Wrong button. Exhibit 9 is the Montgomery County Planning Department comment that was received from Carrie Sanders on February 27th, 2020, in opposition of the original abandonment request based on the 2012 Wheaton Sector Plan calls to retain the right-of-way for the unbuilt portion of Kensington Boulevard between East Avenue and Veers Mill. Also noting that the right-of-way may also be used for pedestrian or bicycle connection if a street was determined not to be feasible. Exhibit 10 is the Montgomery County Department of Transportation Development Review Committee comment received from Brenda Pardo by way of Rebecca Torma on December 12, 2019, in opposition of the original abandonment request based on the Wheaton CBD master plan. Exhibit 11 is Montgomery County DOT Division of Traffic Engineering and Operations. It's an email received from Mark Terry on December 20th, 2019 in opposition of the original abandonment request based on the master plan or any agreement plan or plan with SHA to extend Kensington Boulevard to Veers Mill Road. Exhibit 12, Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services, the Office of the Fire Marshal, is an email received by Patsy Warnick on March 30th, 2020, with conditional approval, noting that a minimum of 60 feet in each direction at the terminus of East Avenue should be retained for the fire department operations. Exhibit 13 is Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services, Division of Land Development comment. It's an email received from Atik Banshiri on February 5th, 2020, in opposition of the original abandonment request based on the presence of 2 parallel storm drains and a sewer main in the right-of-way. Exhibit 14 is a comment received from Washington Gas. It's an email from Stephen Lincoln dated December 11, 2019 with no opposition, however, noting the presence of an active gas line within the right-of-way and an existing easement, and noting that should the right-of-way be abandoned, they would require consultation with the applicant to determine sufficient access to the existing structure. They've also included in their comments some additional exhibits that note an existing easement that they have. Exhibit 15 is the WSSC comment, a letter received from Emmanuel Benyella on December 17, 2019 with conditional approval, noting that there is an active water line and sewer lines within the right-of-way. And should the county council approve the abandonment, the applicant would need to grant a minimum of 60 feet of right-of-way free and clear for the facility maintenance or to cover the expense for relocation. Exhibit 16 is PEPCO's comment received via email from Autumn Burling on February 6, 2020 with no opposition, however, noting that there are poles located around the abandonment area that service the applicant's property at 2901 Kensington Boulevard, but access to the existing facilities will not be impacted by the abandonment. Exhibit 17 is a general public notice that was submitted via mail along with a mailing list, and general notices were submitted to abutting and affected property owners dated March 6, 2020. It is important to note that you'll see many of these do not have a status noting for the tracking numbers on the certified mail. The reason for that is that the Postal Service was not agreeing to do any personal contact at that time as a result of the pandemic. Exhibit 18 is a email received from Jim Leon representing himself and his family located at 2909 Kensington Boulevard, noting no objection to the abandonment. Exhibit 19 is an email received on March 21st, 2020 from Dan Christensen representing his family living at 2912 Kensington Boulevard, supporting the abandonment petition. Exhibit 20 is a general public hearing cancellation notice. The notices were submitted to persons of record via mail and email on March 18th, 2020 as a result of the pandemic and the closure of county facilities. Exhibit 21 is a revised abandonment application that was received July 13th, 2021. The application also provides for 2 exhibits that indicate the petitioned abandonment areas and the new permanent utility easement option. Exhibit 21 is Executive Order number 165-21, authorizing a public hearing for February 22nd, 2022. Should be noted that this public hearing was later canceled at the applicant's request. Exhibit 23, Washington Times Affidavit of Publication, advertising the public hearing on February 22nd, 2022. Advertisements ran on February 4th and 11th in 2022. Exhibit 24 is a MCDOT calendar event submission advertising the public hearing. Exhibit 25 is a hearing traffic sign request dated December 28th, 2021. Request for the installation of a traffic sign notice for the public hearing. The location where the sign was planted or posted, excuse me. Exhibit 26 is the comment solicitation request for public agencies. The email is dated August 3rd, 2021 to all public agencies required by county code. Exhibit 27 is that same request that was submitted August 3rd, 2021 to utility companies. Exhibit 28 is a comment solicitation request dated January 12th, noting the new abandonment hearing February 22nd, 2022. Exhibit 29, that same request submitted to utility companies dated the same January 12th, 2022. So all public utility companies required by county code. Exhibit 30, general public hearing notice, is an email dated January 12th, 2022, advertising the public hearing on February 22nd, 2022. Exhibit 31 is the Montgomery County Department of Transportation Development Review Committee comment that was updated with a letter received from DPAC. I will not murder DPAC's last name. I apologize, DPAC. But sent via Rebecca Torma, dated September 22nd, 2021, recommending conditional approval pertaining to access with additional comments pertaining to access to Lot 11, the applicant's property, and coordination with Montgomery County DOT, along with other agencies for ingress, egress, and utility maintenance. Exhibit 32. Yes. Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services, Division of Land Development comment. It's an email received from Atik Panshiri dated August 6, 2021, opposing the abandonment, noting various reasons pertaining to utilities in the right-of-way and reductions of public right-of-way back to the county. Exhibit 33, Montgomery County Department of Permitting Services, Fire Department Access and Water Supply. It's an email from Marie Labaugh dated January 13th, 2022 with no objection. Exhibit 34, Montgomery County Planning Department comment. This is a letter received from Jessica and Troy via Carrie Sanders dated September 3rd, 2021, supporting the abandonment, noting that vehicular connection between Kensington Boulevard and Beers Mill Road was determined not feasible due to existing grade and existing utility easements. The planning staff notes that they are working with Wheaton Gateway Development to enhance connection through the abandonment area. Exhibit 35 is PEPCO's comment received via email from Crystal Green dated January 25th, 2022, denying the abandonment petition, noting it was not in the best interest of their customer. Exhibit 36, Washington Gas comment, is an email from Colin Burke dated January 13th, 2022, indicating the presence of a 4-inch steel gas line and request that any abandonment be conditional upon the granting of an easement or that the structure be relocated at the applicant's expense. Exhibit 37, Karen Leon and family's comment, email received from Karen Leon on 2909 Kensington Boulevard dated January 24th, indicating no opposition to the abandonment. Exhibit 38 is a comment received from Glenn Lockhart at 2905 Kensington Boulevard dated January 24th, 2022, indicating no objection to the abandonment. Exhibit 39 is a email that was received from Miriam Schuenbaum, noting that she would prefer that the applicant be required to maintain access for pedestrian and bicyclists, and then that the access be ADA compliant to lower stress for traffic from University Boulevard and Veers Mill. Exhibit 40 is a letter received from Kensington View Civic Association, is an email received from Ms. Eleanor Duckett, acting chair of the Land Use and Zoning Committee, dated February 15th, 2022. The letter opposes the abandonment for a host of reasons, including but not limited to the 2012 Wheaton Sector Plan, previous denial of an abandonment case AB770, violations of county codes, and the community's use of the public right-of-way. Exhibit 41 is a collection of hearing cancellation notices. The cancellation notices were submitted to all persons of record. Exhibit 42 is Executive Order number 189-22, authorizing the public hearing today, August 25th, 2022. Exhibit 43 is a collection of rescheduled public hearing notices submitted via email to public agencies, utility companies, HOAs, and civic or community associations of record between May 20th and 25th, 2022. Additionally, letters were mailed on August 1st, 2022 to persons of record. Exhibit 44 is a public hearing traffic sign. This picture was taken July 27, 2022, advertising today's hearing. Exhibit 45 is the Go Montgomery press release posted August 18th, 2022. Exhibit 46 is the Washington Times affidavit of publication advertising the public hearing today, and the advertisements ran August 5th and 12th. Exhibit 47 is a Montgomery County DOT calendar event submission. Exhibit 48 is a comment received by Kathleen Herald. It's an email dated August 7th, 2022, noting that community members utilize the right-of-way on Kensington to Veers Mill to the Titan Stadium and Montessori School, also requesting development of the right-of-way to alleviate traffic on Veers Mill Road. Exhibit 49 is a letter received from the Executive Director of the Housing Authority Commission of Montgomery County on behalf of Wheaton Venture LLC and Wheaton Gateway LLC, received August 23rd, 2022, in support of the abandonment request, also indicating on the following exhibits how the abandonment area will be developed based on coordination efforts with Planning Board and Montgomery County DOT. Exhibit 50 is the letter received from the applicant to Montgomery County Department of Transportation, dated August 22nd, 2022, showcasing a proposal for the petitioned abandonment area. The following exhibits were prepared with the adjoining owner, Wheaton Gateway LLC, based on comments from Montgomery County Department of Transportation and WSSC. Exhibit 51 is the abandonment case AB716 report and recommendation. And Exhibit 52, Exhibit 52 is the public hearing registration list. That is it. Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. I'll now turn this hearing back over to you.
Okay. At this time, we'll hear from the applicant.
So thank you, Mr. Dorsey. My name is Daniel Harville. I'm the attorney for Bank Realty, and I want to say it's a pleasure to be here, and we appreciate the opportunity to have our application heard. I have a somewhat of a presentation that I'll be connecting in via share from another computer, if you could bear with me for just a moment. All right. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As I said, my name is Daniel Harville. I'm the attorney for Bank Realty LLC, and we're here to consider the AB 770, the application for abandonment of a portion of Kensington Boulevard to Bank Realty LLC. And what we have here, the first thing we have to look at, as has been noted earlier, is that we have to look at the criteria for abandonment. The criteria to allow for abandonment is that the right-of-way is no longer necessary for present public use or anticipated use in the foreseeable future, or the abandonment is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents near the right-of-way. As you will see as we go through this, I think it'll become apparent that this application fulfills both these criteria. It's important to understand at the outset who is the applicant. Bank Realty LLC is a small real estate holding company. The principals have owned and operated a business on a lot adjacent to Kensington Boulevard for over 2 decades. They also own 2 lots on Kensington Boulevard itself. And their principals are 2 local business owners. That is Dr. Bahram Nasehi and Dr. Sir Sarafi. They're local dentists. They own the Wheaton Dental Center, which abuts the Kensington Boulevard right-of-way. They've been members of the local professional community for over 20 years. And in addition, they do live locally in Montgomery County. It's important to understand who the applicant is. As stated, they have local community ties, as well as being both real estate owners in the neighborhood, as well as owning a business abutting Kensington Boulevard. They have a vested interest in preserving and improving the neighborhood. And that's, as we go through this, you'll see the improvements that are being proposed herein as well. And they also have a cooperative relationship with their neighbors, and that includes the Wheaton Gateway project, which is the large multi-use development project next door to the Wheaton Dental Center. Wheaton Gateway has worked cooperatively with Bank Realty to ensure that when we put together the plans and proposals that you'll see during this presentation, it's consistent with their development and their approved sketch plan, as well as it is consistent with the interests of the community, as will become clear. So let's look at Kensington Boulevard. What's the current state of Kensington Boulevard? Kensington Boulevard right now is, it dead ends at the back of the Wheaton Dental Center. Up here, you'll see this here is the Wheaton Dental Center in this area. Over here where Lindsay Ford is where the Wheaton Gateway project is redeveloping the area. Right now, Kensington Boulevard runs right into the back of the parking lot and driveway for the Wheaton Dental Center. Currently, there's no access to Veers Mill Road directly from Kensington Boulevard. The way people get to Kensington Boulevard, or excuse me, get to Veers Mill Road currently is by either walking through the Wheaton Dental Center parking lot or by driving through the Wheaton Dental Center parking lot, which, obviously a parking lot is not a controlled traffic area, and that creates danger to pedestrians as well as to the patrons of the Wheaton Dental Center itself. And there's some reasons why, to date and for the foreseeable future, there appears to be no plan or project in the works to connect Kensington Boulevard to Veers Mill Road. And this satellite image will show why. As you look here, essentially, Kensington Boulevard dead ends into these trees. These trees, it's not clear from this picture, but in this picture, the grade is very steep. When you come off of Kensington Boulevard and go up to this area, up to Veers Mill Road, the grade is extremely steep. And because of that, it's not practicable to install a road in that area because the grade issues. It's very dense vegetation as well. And there's a lot of utilities underground, which just make it not feasible to extend Kensington Boulevard to Veers Mill. You can't really see it in this picture, but over to the right here on Veers Mill are also large intersections with traffic lights. And they're, given the county rules concerning the distance between intersections and things of that nature, it also creates a problem with connecting Kensington Boulevard. So what people are doing right now is they're walking this way through the parking lot, or they're driving this way through the parking lot to get to Veers Mill, which is not a safe or practical solution. Excuse me. And it's also important to note this area here where the trees are is very dense vegetation. and it's, difficult terrain. And because of that, pedestrians currently don't have any direct access to Veers Mill except through the Wheaton Dental Center. So looking at the next issue is, what is the applicant proposing? And given what we've just seen as the current state of Kensington Boulevard, I think the benefits of what's being proposed will become clear. When you look here, this is essentially a drawing that was put together, and it's consistent with the Wheaton Gateway approved sketch plan. And this was done in conjunction and cooperation between Wheaton Gateway and the applicant, and it shows the various things that are proposed both within their sketch plan as well as through our abandonment application. This blue area here would be the abandonment area. Okay, because of comments received from MCDOT, it's important to consider currently the Kensington Boulevard dead ends and just a straight dead end into the back of the Wheaton Dental Center. It currently doesn't have any cul-de-sac turnaround or anything of that nature. The proposal here would allow for a hammerhead to be constructed as part of the development of the area. The abandonment area would be here. The pink area would remain with the county. The green area would be abandoned to the Wheaton Gateway project. And then this purple area and this area up here, it's important to understand this property here is owned by the Wheaton Gateway project. It's not part of the abandonment area. It's not part of the right-of-way. And therefore, what's being proposed is the Wheaton Gateway in their approved sketch plan has proposed a public right-of-way here and a footpath along here with steps, and those steps would have bicycle runnels to allow for pedestrian traffic and bicycle traffic to reach from Kensington Boulevard to Veers Mill Road, which currently there is no such access. And it's also important, obviously utilities are important. Everybody in the neighborhood needs to have their power and their water and their sewage and lights and things of that nature and their gas. And so does the applicant. They own a business that needs to have its power and water, and they own a couple of lots here that need to have their power and water. So of course, any easements that are needed by any utility would be put together and submitted, and that's just a matter of paperwork. What we have here is an example of what's being proposed for WSSC access to the abandonment area, the area that would be still owned by Gateway Project, as well as the easement and the walkway in the county area. And that's what the applicant is proposing as an example of the type of easements that would be done. Any easements that would be done, obviously, any easements that need to be done would be done under the abandonment area. And then it's important to note the cooperation between the Gateway, the Wheaton Gateway project, and the way we've tried to conform this to their approved sketch plan. What you see here is you see a proposed, in the Wheaton Gateway project, they need an entranceway or a driveway essentially into their building, and that would cut across part of the abandonment area. And that's why I think you saw earlier some letters where it appeared at first the Wheaton project, or HOC, which is part of the Wheaton Gateway project, was opposing the initial application. But when we worked together and took a cooperative approach, what you see is there's an easement across here, which would be part of the abandonment area to allow the Wheaton Gateway project to have access to its property. And as well, they've cooperated with the applicant to ensure that up here off of their property, there would be an easement to allow for parking spaces in the Wheaton Dental Center parking lot. And this has all been, these easements have actually already been drafted, and they're just waiting approval of the application for abandonment. Now, the next slide. It's important to note that Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission is in support of this application. And one of the things they noted is the lack of feasibility for a vehicular connection to Veers Mill Road from Kensington Boulevard. As Ms. McCrae stated when she was going through the exhibits, there is no, because of utility and because of the terrain and grade, it's impracticable and not feasible to put a connection through of a vehicular connection. And that's why vehicles right now are driving through the Wheaton Dental Center parking lot. So Parks and Planning has approved this application on their end, and that's consistent with the sector plan. The Wheaton CBD sector plan called for a foot bicycle connection between Kensington Boulevard and Veers Mill Road if a vehicular connection was not feasible. It's been determined not to be feasible. And so having the sector plan, having the foot traffic that would be allowed with this right-of-way here, and with the county maintaining this section here with a walkway being built as part of the Wheaton Gateway project, that ensures the foot and pedestrian traffic that is consistent with the Wheaton CBD sector plan. Now, this application, as I've said, is also consistent with the ongoing neighborhood development, because Wheaton Gateway, they've put in, excuse me, and had approved their sketch plan. And with that having been approved, we have made sure we've worked together with our plan to ensure that those two things are consistent with each other and that they work with each other to help improve the community. Now, when we look at this, we go back to our criteria for the abandonment. Number one is the right-of-way is no longer necessary for present public use or anticipated use in the foreseeable future. Well, right now, the Kensington Boulevard right-of-way is essentially a dead-end street, and right now it doesn't provide vehicular or pedestrian access to Veers Mill Road. So it's no longer necessary to fulfill its purpose to go there, because it's already been determined that installing that roadway would not be feasible. So we have fulfilled that criteria because it's currently not useful in its present state. The second criteria is that the abandonment is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents near the right-of-way. Well, the residents near the right-of-way right now are walking through a private parking lot, and they're driving through a private parking lot, which is not a proper traffic control, has no proper traffic control, and pedestrians are mixed in with vehicular traffic, and that's unsafe. What this proposal does is it allows for a safe, separate foot traffic and bike traffic pathway up to Veers Mill Road without pedestrians any longer being mixed in with vehicle traffic. And it also will ensure that vehicles will no longer be able to drive through the Wheaton Dental Center parking lot, thereby threatening patrons and business invitees. So what we have is that this application fulfills both those criteria. It fulfills both the fact that this right-of-way is no longer necessary for present public use or anticipated future use, and it improves safety and health and welfare. And so for those reasons, we do ask for approval of AB770. We thank you for your time. We thank everybody who was on the Zoom, who took time out of their day to participate. And obviously we're open to answering any questions you may have or any other comments that may come after this.
Okay. So at this time, we're going to take comments from those who signed up to give your verbal comments. And just a reminder, we have a 3-minute limit on your comments, and keep them relevant to the subject matter.
I have added the order of comments in the chat. If you cannot see the chat, I can read that off. Just a quick overview. The order of comments is Ms. Eleanor Duckett, and then following Ms. Duckett is Shane Pullen. For those who indicated that they might want to make a statement, I will go through those in a separate set of folks.
Okay, is that me now? Is that Eleanor now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Eleanor Duckett, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Kensington Youth Civic Association. I hope everyone has had a chance to read our submission. We oppose the abandonment of Kensington Boulevard not only because we believe abandonment would violate the zoning code, but also because we believe it is not in the public's best interest. As we stated in our submission, Kensington View was subdivided and recorded in 1925. The whole subdivision, including platted roads, was zoned as an A zone. Under the 1928 ordinance, the minimum lot size for a buildable lot was 5,000 square feet. The current zoning code confirms this as a valid building lot size. Outlot A at 5,293 square feet is a buildable lot. Section 49-63D states a right-of-way, which is the sole means of access to any property, must not be abandoned. Bank Realty proposes a driveway from East Avenue through the abandoned Kensington Boulevard lot to their parking lot. Now, they've changed a little bit since we first went through this, but it's still the same thing. They're putting a driveway. Since our submission, the planning board approved the Wheaton Gateway sketch plan. The resolution in the approval states on page 9, additionally, an ingress point for the residential parking garage levels is proposed adjacent to a new turnaround at the terminus of Kensington Boulevard. If Kensington Boulevard is abandoned, it would become an R60 zone plot. Section 6.1.3b of the current zoning code states, land that is located in a residential zone must not be used for driveway or for vehicular access to any land that is not in a residential detached zone. It seems to us that abandonment would disallow a driveway to the CRN zone Bank Realty building or the proposed Wheaton Gateway CRN zone garages. Appendix 7, page 4 of the Wheaton sector plan shows a huge water main that runs through this portion of Kensington Boulevard. It also states, and I quote, projects here may be asked to set back their development some distance from these mains, end quote, and that development proposals larger than 700 housing units may require improvements to the WSSC conveyance system. The Wheaton Gateway project is proposing over 800 housing units. It is our opinion that Kensington Boulevard's best use is as a road with a cul-de-sac at its terminus up near Parcel A. A cul-de-sac would allow access to Outlot A. It would allow street access to the Bank Realty property. Bank Realty could still close their access to prevent cut-through traffic if they wish. It would allow street access to the Wheaton Gateway project and provide the turnaround that the resolution proposes. It would also allow water main work if necessary. Finally, a cul-de-sac would certainly please the Kensington View residents. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Shane Pullman.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
For the record, my name is Shane Poland, and I'm principal of PS Ventures representing the Wheaton Gateway project, and here to testify in support of the abandonment application. I think that the testimony that's been provided.
Sorry, Shane, I can barely hear you.
Okay. Any better?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we can hear Eric.
Oh, you could hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to speak up a little bit. Is that any better? I'll raise
Yes,
my voice
that's better.
if I can't get the speaker working. Again, Shane Poland, principal of PS Ventures, representing the Wheaton Gateway project, here testifying in support of the abandonment application. I think as the testimony and the background have established, really what we're seeing today is the result of a cooperative effort and an evolution in the abandonment application, in working together both with the applicant, but also with representatives of WSSC, representatives of MCDOT, representatives of Park and Planning, to try to find a way to balance the myriad of challenges and interests in this challenging area. Mr. Harville mentioned, and we've sort of said, like, hey, it's not particularly feasible, but I think a picture that might be helpful is to actually see what's happening with the grade in this area. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you see this
Yes.
image?
Yes,
Okay,
we
so
can.
what we're looking at is Kensington, and each of these is a grade line, right? That you really helps us depict the fact of the infeasibility of the connection and the difficulty of this area. This is the county map, and what we can see, each of these lines is a 2-foot grade. And so it's not that we didn't try to work through and see if there was a way, even with the benefit of our property coming in and project, to see if we can make a connection, but it really is infeasible. I mean, there's between the utilities and this grade, every one of these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 feet of grade in this brief area. And so again, we're testifying in support because we think that the plan that we're showing right now achieves a balance for how to improve this area for pedestrians. We've, as designed, we've got bicycle runners for bicyclists. And again, want to thank the applicant for working with us in cooperation, as well as staff from MCDOT, WSSE, Park and Planning. But this is really a group effort. And we think that this satisfies the requirements for abandonment and should improve the condition of the area over existing conditions and make it safer. So thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. The next person I have noted that they might be interested in making a statement. It's Ms. Kathleen Michaels. Or is this Michelle's? I apologize.
No, I have no comments right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have Mr. Hines either on the phone, or is that might possibly G. Roberts? Okay. I see you've taken yourself off mute.
No, this is G. Roberts. Just only to tell you that I'm not Mr. Hines. So no, I will not be having any comments at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Those are the only names that I see that are here present today that have noted that they might be interested in speaking. Is there anyone else? Okay. Mr. Dorsey, back to you.
So if we have no further comments, I will let the staff know and everyone here that we will accept written comments sent to Tara McGray at Montgomery County Department of Transportation, 100 Anderson Park Drive, 4th floor, Gaithersburg, Maryland, 20874, or email them to Tyra at tyra.mccray@montgomerycountymd.gov by September 19th, 2022, 5 p.m. If there's no further comments, this concludes the comment section of the verbal public hearing.
Rob, did
Dorsey,
you have something?
Yeah, Mr. Dorsey, I just have one quick question. Does the applicant, is there a submission that shows, I know in the PowerPoint presentation, which I'm assuming is going to be incorporated into the record, is there something that shows the area and what area specifically is going to be abandoned? I did see with different highlighted colors, but I was just wondering the amount of square footage. I think I may have heard that.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that that was clear for the record.
Yeah, Rob, that's Exhibit 50. The applicant submitted that letter with those additional exhibits, and it's clearly mentioned with all of the square footage as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional comments? Okay, I guess that concludes this virtual hearing.
Thank you. Eric, can you stop the recording, please?
I will indeed.